Shanti, everyone. Hello again to those of you that are here with us live. Thank you for the chit chat just now. I really enjoyed it. And now we're moving into the morally reading part of this chit chat. Brothers and sisters will know from the week's classes and moralies that Baba's been taking up this theme with us, really getting us to think that what is it that constitutes good karma, first of all. I don't think we think enough about that topic. We should really be thinking about this. Sometimes points like that become so implicit, they become so normalized that we forget that we got to think. But we should always think. We can think, oh, well, we know what's good karma. But Baba's challenging us that does all of the karma that we think is good actually accumulate in our account? So that's another thing, because Baba can see our accounts, but we don't necessarily, we're not able necessarily to see our own accumulated accounts. And so I've heard Baba once say in the morning, maybe more than once actually, that the amount that Brahmins think is being accumulated in their account, that much is not being accumulated when Baba checks it. And you'll hear the narrative from Baba in the Moralies and also in the Bhog messages that he consistently reminds us not to have the consciousness of I, for example, not to have that ego, not to have that self-centeredness in any way. Because actually then the good that we're doing, it doesn't actually accumulate. So Baba's introducing us to two things. One is whether the karma is good, and the second is whether it accumulates. And then Baba is asking us this week to think about the negative karma and how that is accumulating. In Bhakti, we would consider like public crimes, I suppose, to be negative karma. It would be like more sort of standard good and bad type of understanding. But Baba comes and explains to us that it's in the influence of the five vices that makes karma negative. And so then that's a much broader definition of what is negative karma. For example, having attachments is normal, isn't it, as a human being? We wouldn't consider attachments to be a vice. We might consider too much, I suppose, too much attachment, but generally, to be human means to be attached. And Baba's introducing us to that being a vice. People who are monks and nuns, they might be the ones who are rejecting attachment. But we wouldn't usually think that people who have attachment, that's a negative karma. But Baba is getting us to look at that. We have these negative tendencies that are very subtle and internal. For example, we might not be externally angry at someone. We might not say anything. We might not do anything. But Baba's saying even internally, having lots of waste thoughts, having lots of mixed feelings, that accumulates as negative karma. And so Baba broadens this definition of negative karma. And then he says to us, that also accumulates. So if we think about it, one of the things that is very prevalent in the UK, and I think it's prevalent in many other countries too, is the increase in mental health issues. Now, on one side, that could be to do with people becoming more aware of this and also less stigma in society. So people are speaking about it more. So that could be one of the reasons that it shows an increase. But in the Morales, Baba has also spoken about how, as Confluence Age moves forward, the Iron Age comes to its climax. He has said that the speed of thoughts in people's minds will also continue to increase. And there'll be a greater burden in the mind. He talks about souls clearing accounts inside their mind through mental weakness as well. Now, if we think about this concept of accumulation, if you think even in the last week, how many thoughts have been wasteful or unnecessary? Then think about it in the last month, in the last year. Then think about it before you had Baba's knowledge. How was your mind working? Now, for most people at the end of the Iron Age, they're not in control of their mind. The mind is just having lots of thoughts. And you've got some people who are able to be positive, and you've got some people that get themselves into negative patterns, wasteful patterns. Now, if you think that each of those thoughts was accumulated, you can see why maybe later in the same life, or maybe in a future life, that could come back as some mental weakness. Because we have been using our mind in a way it's not designed for. The mind is designed for positive thinking. The mind is designed for happiness and peace. And if we are misusing that mind, then that's also a negative karmic account. So karmic accounts are not just external, they're not externally facing. There's also the karmic accounts that we create internally, because it's about accumulation. So it gets accumulated. Think about how many negative and wasteful thoughts we would have had in 63 births. Think about it. One sister in this chit chat always talks about keeping attention on not taking sorrow, because actually then you're accumulating sorrow for yourself and for the world. Think in 63 births, how many times we took sorrow. Even if someone doesn't give sorrow, we take sorrow a lot of the time. And all of that has been accumulating in our accounts. Then let's think about the body. Daddy Janki used to say that every organ of the body, every sense in the body has been used to perform sin. And you think in 63 births, the eyes are the main ones, as Baba always says. You've looked at everyone in a body conscious way for so long, you're constantly accumulating that in your negative account anyway. And then you think about looking at people with resentment, with jealousy, with so many other things. And then we would have got ourselves into fights. We might have fought in wars, all sorts of violence. There could be domestic abuse issues, all sorts of things we might have done and gone through. And then you think about all of the different organs in the body. Again, the body has not been given to us to use devices. It's not meant to be just for our own selfishness. The body is a gift. So all of those negative tendencies, the way we've used the body to perform actions based on vices, that's accumulated in the account with the body. So different illnesses will be created and come back because the body was not designed for that. And we used it in that way. And then we think about wealth. And Baba gets us to really think, how have we been using wealth? And it was really interesting in this week's Morales where Baba was giving the example of And he might have heard about this at the time, or it was in the newspaper. So someone might have told him that such and such a guru, his followers have put him in a new apartment. And Baba often comments about how sannyasis, when they were Sataprada, they would live in the forest because sannyas, becoming a monk, becoming a nun, it's meant to mean renouncing worldly possessions and worldly comforts. That's part of it. And so they have the strength of that renunciation. And he was saying that now they will live in the cities in big palaces and apartments. If you think of, say, this is one of the criticisms that even many Christians make of the Catholic Church, for example, because the cardinals, they're even known as the princes of the church. So you could see how Christ lived so simply. He had no possessions at all. Christ wouldn't even handle money. And then you look at how maybe the church has become like a bank, and suddenly it owns all these land, and you can see what Baba means by religions going through their stages of Sato, Rejo, and Tamo. And because it becomes normal, we don't think about it as negative karma. But Baba was saying that because that sannyasi was actually meant to live simply, because that's what a sannyasi should do, but the followers put them in a comfortable apartment, it actually does not constitute good karma that is accumulated. Another example that Baba gives us in the Morally is with marriage. And in Hindi, one of the word that's used when you are handing your daughter for marriage is Kanyadan, the donation of the Kumari. So it's considered a donation. It's like considered really good karma. And Brahma Baba, before Shiv Baba's knowledge, he used to like matchmaking as well. So when you're involved in the community, I'm sure many of you have much more experience than me in these things, but people sort of enjoy sort of gossiping and matchmaking. And if someone's single, they want to match them off to someone. This is what people do, and they get involved with. And if something works out for two people, they think they've done this most wonderful thing. And we would have a feel-good factor, and we think that we performed an act of charity. And Baba tells us, actually, you've created the gateway for impurity. It accumulated in your negative account. So we don't think about these things. So Baba says that even when parents are spending the money on the marriage and the wedding and things, that also accumulates negatively in wealth. If we think about it, a lot of our wealth is mainly spent on our attachments, isn't it? Many of you are parents. I mean, I think if you're parents, you haven't got much savings, I wouldn't think, because children are expensive. Grandchildren are expensive. So basically, your wealth, it goes into that, doesn't it? So if they're already your relatives and your attachments, would that accumulate? Because it's your responsibility, isn't it? And I suppose if you did it for people who are not your responsibility, then maybe. But generally, if it's your own children, your own husband, I mean, that's your duty anyway. So it wouldn't accumulate in that way. But a lot of our wealth goes into that. And then a lot of it has gone into unnecessary attachment spending. So we like to spoil people that we're attached to. We like to treat them. We like to do things. So you can imagine that when we had a lot of money in the Copper Age, we were probably making all these diamond necklaces and giving it to our friend and our sister, and we're trying to impress people. You can imagine. So Baba says you didn't accumulate anything. You were just showing off. And then bhakti. So again, we were thinking that we'll spend this money doing this bhakti, we'll go on this pilgrimage, we'll do this. And we think we're performing this great charity. And maybe we convert someone else into our religion. And everyone goes, oh, you're such a religious person. We're very proud of ourselves. And what does Shiv Baba come and say? Stage of descent. You accumulated nothing. You just came down the staircase. None of your wealth. When I left you, I gave you so much wealth. Where is it now? And so Baba is saying the logic is if you did that much bhakti and it accumulated, you would be much more wealthy now. You'd still have the wealth I gave you at the beginning. In fact, if it was good karma, you would have it multiplied. But how come you've ended up so ordinary when you were so royal? So Baba really gets us thinking, what constitutes good karma? What constitutes bad karma? What gets accumulated and what doesn't get accumulated? In some of the Muralis, you'll hear him refer to a business person called Birla. And in India, Birla Industries is one of the biggest companies. They're a conglomerate now. But at the time when Brahma Baba was around, he was older than Brahma Baba, the old Birla, the one who started it all, the dad. And he was one of the supporters of Gandhi and the independence movement. And when they gained independence, he gained a lot of the government contracts. So he became very, very wealthy as like a reward for his support to gain independence. And he was convinced that it was his deities, Lakshmi and Narayan, that were blessing him. So he would build a small temple and then suddenly he would get more contracts and more money. So he was convinced that he was being blessed by the goddess of wealth, Lakshmi. And so every time he gained more, he would build a temple to Lakshmi and Narayan. And probably the most famous and large one was built in Delhi in the 1950s. And I think the president of India had come and done the opening as well of that one, I think. So Baba was aware of that. But the name given to that temple is the Birla temple. Now, Baba makes this comment in the Morali. Chit Baba says that Birla, he got nothing for it. So he left the body then in the 1960s. And Baba makes a comment in the Morali that he built all those temples, but he got nothing for it because he made it public. So his name is there as the Birla temple. So everyone knows he's given the donation. He's got the credit for that. So in that lifetime, he already got the praise. He already got the credit. So Baba says he didn't accumulate anything. So it really makes us think, actually what gets accumulated. And then for us as Brahmins, Baba introduces another concept, which is the concept of becoming karmatit. And there are three types of karmatit stage. The first is during the golden and the silver age. And Baba says that the time is such, and because Baba's given a blessing to those ages, all the karma that you perform automatically becomes neutral. So you don't accumulate anything negatively, and you've already got the full return from Baba for your positivity at confluence age. So you're not needing to accumulate then in either account, and you don't accumulate. So it's a karmatit stage. We're in the golden and silver age. We've got no pressure to do good things because there are no vices anyway. It's unlimited resource. So you are in a karmatit stage then, which Baba calls Jivan Mukti, liberation and life. The second karmatit stage is when we're in the soul world. Maybe that I should say that's the first karmatic stage. So in the soul world, there's no karma at all. And the human soul is in its seed form. So we are like asleep. We are just as a seed. We're not thinking. It seems that only Shambhava can be in the soul world and carry on thinking. So from there, he carries on sustaining all the devotees and giving vision. So he seems to be able to do that. But all other human souls are like a latent seed. And it's only when we gain a body down here that we begin to think and speak and do. So there's no karma that we perform in the soul world. So we are karmatik. And then the third karmatik stage is during there are four karmatik stages. So the third karmatik stage is something that we have to experience as we become a Brahmin. So Bhagavad teaches us how to live in the world and not create more karma, and how to live in the world of the Iron Age and settle our karma without emotional suffering. So that's a karmatic stage. And the morally we're going to hear is on this topic. And the fourth karmatic stage is becoming the angel, like Brahmababa. So he reached his karmatic stage on the 18th of January, 1969. And he's managed to actually free himself from rebirth. So it's a very powerful angelic karmatic stage. So I'm going to hand over to Ranjan Ben now to read the morally, and Baba is detailing further to us how we can move from being in this dynamic of accumulating positive karma, accumulating negative karma, dealing with all of it, and move towards becoming karmatik while we are in this Brahmin life.
Om Shanti. Good morning to all. The Avyakt Bhaktada, 18th December 1987. 18/12/1987. Today, Bodiless Bhaktada is seeing his elevated children who remain stable in the stage of being bodiless. Each Brahmin soul is coming closer to his complete stage through the aim of becoming bodiless and karmatik. And so today, Bap Dada is seeing to what extent each child has come close to the bodiless karmatik stage, and to what extent each one has followed Brahma Baba, or whether he is still trying to do so. Each one's aim is to become close and to become equal to the Father. But when put into practical application, each one becomes number-wise. You saw the example of Sakar Brahma Baba, who became bodiless and karmatik while in the body. What is the speciality of being karmatik? While you have this body and you are playing a part through your sense organs on this field of action, you cannot remain without performing karma for even 1 second. Karmatit means to be beyond the bondage of karma, even whilst performing karma. One is bondage and the other is relationship. It is one thing to come into relationship with karma through the sense organs, but it is another thing to be tied in the bondage of karma. The bondage of karma brings you under the influence of the limited fruit of karma. The bondage of karma brings you under the influence of the limited fruit of karma. The word influence proves that one is influenced by something external. Those who come under an influence are like ghosts that are constantly wandering. What happens to the state of a human soul when an impure soul and an evil spirit enters? He is under that influence and so is constantly wandering. If a soul is under the influence of karma, that is under the influence of desire for the perishable fruit of karma, then that karma ties the soul in the bondage of karma, which causes distress to the self and also to others. To be karmatit means not to be one who is under the influence of karma, but the one who is a master and authority whilst having a relationship with the sense organs and to be detached from the perishable desires while making the sense organs perform karma. The soul, the master, should not be subservient to karma, but it should be the master and continue to enable karma to take place. The sense organs attracted by their power of attraction, that is, if the soul is influenced by karma, it is subservient. It is tied in bondage. Karmatit means to be beyond, to be detached. It is the function of the eyes to see. But who is it that is performing the act of seeing? The eyes perform karma, and the soul instructs the karma to take place. And so, when the soul that enables karma to take place is influenced by the sense organs that perform the karma, it is called the bondage of karma. Be one who instructs karma to take place and lets karma to be carried out. This is known as coming into relationship with karma. A karmatic soul comes into relationship, but it does not stay in bondage. Sometimes you say that you did not wish to say this, but that it just emerged, that you did not wish to do this, but that it just happened. This is known as being one who is under the influence of the bondage of karma. Would you say that such a soul is close or far away from the karmatic stage? Baba has put a question mark to us. Karmatic means to be beyond, to be detached from the bondage of the body, bodily relationships, material objects, and both lokic and alaukic relations. Although the word relationships is used for the relationships of the body and the relationships of the relations of the body. So, shall I repeat this? That Baba says, although the word relationships, it's in the inverted commas, is one that gives a unique and lovely experience. So, although the word relationships is used for the relations of the body and the relationships of the relations of the body. So of the body and the relationships of the relations of the body, if you are subservient to the relations of bodily relationships, then that relationship becomes a bondage. The word relationship is one that gives a unique and lovely experience. However, the relationships of all souls today have been transformed into a form of bondage. When a relationship takes the form of bondage, that bondage constantly causes distress in one way or another. It gives you an experience of a wave of sorrow, an experience of sadness, whilst having a perishable attainment. You have the experience that the happiness of that attainment is for a temporary period. Together with happiness, you will sometimes have the experience of being the embodiment of attainment, but sometimes, whilst having the attainment, you will have the experience of the stage of a lack of attainment. Even though you may be full, you will have the experience of being empty. While having everything, you will continually have the experience of wanting something else. Whenever there is the feeling of constantly wanting, there will never be the feeling of contentment. It is not always possible to keep the mind content, the body content, and others content. The soul will constantly be discontent with the self or with others about the one thing or another, even against its will. Because to be discontent means not to know, not to understand the significance. It means that the soul hasn't understood the significance of being the master in making the sense organs perform the karma. Therefore, the soul will definitely experience disturbance. One who is karmatit never becomes disturbed because He knows the significance of the relationship with karma and the bondage of karma. You have to perform karma, but not by being under its influence. Be the authority and the master and perform karma. To be karmatit means to be free from the bondage of the karmic accounts of past karma. Even if the form of the result of past karmic accounts is sickness of the body, or the sanskars of the self are in conflict with the sanskaras of many other souls. One whose stage is karmatit will not be under the influence of the suffering of karma, but will be a master and settle them. The sign of being karmatit is to be a karma yogi while settling the suffering of karma. To cheerfully change the suffering of karma from a crucifix to a thorn with yoga and to burn it means to finish the suffering of karma. So Baba says, to cheerfully change the suffering of karma from a crucifix to a thorn with yoga and to burn it means to finish the suffering of karma. It shouldn't take on the form of sickness. If it takes on the form of sickness, then the soul will constantly be talking about that sickness. The soul will talk about the sickness in his mind as well as with his lips. Secondly, because of the form of sickness, the soul will be distressed and also cause distress to others. That soul will cry out, but one who is karmatit will move along with it. Some have very little pain, yet cry out a lot, whereas some have a lot of pain, yet they move along with it. One who has a karmatit stage, due to being the master of the body, has the practice of being detached, even while suffering from the effect of karma. The experience of bodilessness now, and again takes him beyond the sickness. Just as with the tools of science, a person is made unconscious and so forgets the pain. He doesn't feel the pain because of the effect of the drugs. So too, one who has the karmatit stage, because of having the practice of being bodiless, has this spiritual injection from time to time. This is why a crucifix is experienced as being a thorn. Another thing is, because of following Father and being specially obedient, the soul receives instant fruit as special blessings from the Father's heart. One thing is your own practice of being bodiless, and the other is the instant fruit of blessings from Baba due to being obedient. This changes the sickness, the suffering of karma from crucifix to a thorn. An elevated karmatic soul transforms the suffering of karma into karma yoga. And so, do you have this experience? Or do you experience this to be something very big? Is it easy or difficult to make something insignificant into something very big, or to make something big into something insignificant? Depends on your stage. It is up to you whether you are distressed or whether you stay in the pride of being your own master. So Baba says in inverted comma here, says, why did this happen? Or the thought, whatever happened is good, depends on you. This fate can change bad into good. For due to the settling of karmic accounts, or sometimes according to drama, due to a practical paper, some things will come in front of you in a form which is good, whereas other things, although they may be good, their external form will be of loss. Then you say, it isn't good in this form. Many things will come in front of you. Up until now, many things have come in this form and will continue to do so. But behind the curtain of loss, there is benefit hidden away. Externally, the curtain seems to be that of loss. But if you see it after a little while with patience, with a consciousness of tolerance, with an introverted stage, so 3 things Baba said. Even if there is a loss or something unpleasant you don't like, but Baba is saying that up until now, many things have come in this form and will continue to do so, but behind the curtains of loss, there is a benefit hidden away. Externally, the curtain seems to be that of loss, but if you see it after a little while with patience, with a consciousness of tolerance, with an introverted stage, then you will be able to see what is hidden away behind the external curtain. While looking at what's on the surface, you won't see it. You are the holy swans, aren't you? If a swan is able to separate the stones from the jewels, then the holy swans should be able to take the benefit which is hidden away. They will find the benefit in the loss. Do you understand? What happens when you become confused very quickly? Whatever you had thought of also changes because you became confused. And so do not be confused. When seeing the karma, do not be influenced by the bondage of that karma. What happened? Why did this happen? It shouldn't be like this. Why does this happen to me? Perhaps my fortune is like that. You continue to tie these strings. These thoughts are the strings. This is why you come into the bondage of karma. Wasteful thoughts are the subtle strings of the bondage of karma. A karmatic soul would say, whatever happens is good. I am good. Baba is good. And drama is also good. This works like scissors for cutting the bondages. If the bondages are cut away, then you have become karmatit, haven't you? If the bondages are cut away, then you have become karmatit, haven't you? Because you are the children of Baba, the benefactor, each second of the confluence age is beneficial. Your job is to bring benefit to others at every second. Your service is to bring benefit. The occupation of Brahmins is that of being world transformers, world benefactors. Every moment is definitely beneficial for such souls who have this faith in the intellect. Do you understand? There is still a long definition for karmatit. Just as the significance of karma is deep, so the meaning of karmatit is also very great. And it is necessary to become karmatit, for without becoming karmatit, you cannot go together with Baba. Who will go with Baba? Those who are equal. You saw how Brahma Baba attained the karmatit stage. To follow in becoming karmatit means to become worthy of going together. Today, you are only being told so much. Check this, then you will hear more later. Acha, now Baba is giving us the blessings. Love and remembrances to those who remain in the consciousness of having all rights. To those who change the bondage of karma into the relationship of karma. To those who change the suffering of karma from a crucifix to a thorn with the consciousness of being karma yogis, to those who experience benefit at every second, to those who constantly have the experience of being close to the karmatic stage like Brahma Baba, to such special obedient souls, namaste from Bhaktada. And we all say namaste to Bhaktada. Om Shanti.
Like to share it? Would anyone here who's with us now like to share anything?
Om Shanti. What I've recognized where karmas are concerned and whatever is that anything that comes to us, whether it's good or bad, especially if it is, we see it as a negative, my consciousness has always been look for the blessing in it, because there's always a blessing. And as Baba is saying, we don't know what's happening behind the curtains, what we see in it as a negative. Similarly, with something that is good, and that we are happy in the moment for whatever is happening. Also, in that process, in the background, we may be very much creating some attachments that will cause us sorrow in the future. So that whatever, good or bad, we see it as finishing. We see it also as blessings to grow and keep always to keep, well, the third eye, past, present, and future. What am I creating for the future? What am I settling? And I think for me, that allows me to be able to manage it much better, what's happening in the present. Shanti.
Thank you for sharing that. Baba used the phrase, the waste thoughts are the strings of that karmic account. And it's the positive thinking that you're speaking about, the positive attitude, the attitude filled with knowledge that he said are the scissors. So by supporting your own waste thoughts, you're not clearing karma. By supporting, Sister Linda is quite right. She's put in the chat that the realization is that karmatit, well, when we leave the body and become an angel and go, or we go home with Shiv Baba, that's also karmatit. But Baba's introducing us to this concept of becoming karmatit while performing karma. And he's saying that your own thoughts are not your friend. If they're wasteful and negative, then don't support that, cut them. Because otherwise, your karmic accounts are not actually being cleared. You have to use thoughts of knowledge. You have to use an attitude of knowledge in order to finish emotional suffering. So this is the indicator of a karmic account. If your emotions experience sorrow, that's karmic account there. If your mind is creating waste thoughts, that's a karmic account. So Baba was saying you are being influenced. But in order to become ultimately karmatit as an angel, we actually have to develop this karmatit stage. So one was becoming like the karma yogi, that I, the soul, didn't detach from this body, and I am making the body perform actions, but I am separate and I have to experience my bodiless stage. And the other part was becoming free of the suffering of karma. So that is a sign of karmic bondage. If the body makes us do things, or we've got the suffering of karma, or we've got lots of waste thoughts. And so it's changing our thinking that's going to be able to do that, using the power of knowledge. Would anyone else like to come in?
Shanti. I agree with everything that Sister Ambika just said and what you just said. But in my mind, I'm thinking if we become the server and understand that we're here to serve that soul on behalf of Baba, then we will take away that attachment, take away that bondage that is there, and serve that individual, give that individual what they need according to the time and according to what's going on. And that's my take on it, because I feel if we just detach ourselves, take away that attachment and just serve and understand Baba is serving through me, and we will be okay. Shanti.
I think that's right. I think that's a good reminder, because Baba often says to us, remember Karan, Karav and Har. Remember that Baba is the one getting everything done and you are an instrument. And so by remembering that and having, even with Lokkic relations or Lokkic duties, it was in the blessing last week that you got to transform all of that. For you, nothing is worldly anymore. Nothing is Lokkic anymore. Everywhere you are serving. So have that vision of spirituality, have that vision of godly service and everything. So I think that's good. That's a good method for sure. Thank you. Would anyone else like to say anything?
Shanti.
Shanti.
Yes, it's a good reminder that everything that happens at the conference age is good. It's beneficial, and for me, that's one way of stopping those waste thoughts. That particular point, So this is it's a good reminder. And we're going through whatever scenes in the drama they are unfolding. It is good. All is good. Om Shanti.
Absolutely. It's one of the lines in the Gita, actually. And I've seen this slogan up in many Hindus' homes, and they quoted it that whatever happened was good, whatever's happening is good, whatever will happen is good. This is an actual line in that scripture. But without Baba's knowledge, we don't know why it's good. It's only until, like Baba says, it's like a pinch of salt in a sack full of flour. You've got these gems there. But we don't understand that by doing that, we're settling karmic accounts. It's when we get this additional detail that why I should consider everything to be positive, everything to be beneficial, is because it's actually helping me to settle. It's helping me to become free. And that then becomes a better motivation for us to do that. So I think that's really, I think what was so clear in today's morally is that it's that type of attitude that is like a pair of scissors. It cuts things away. Thank you. Benjamin?
Yeah, yes, but this Murli, see, before we become karmatit, we have read Murli about chariot and charioteer, remember? And deep karma philosophy. And so what if we had continued putting it into practice, then we can come close to it and be able to follow Brahma Baba. But main thing Baba said for me that practice being bodiless. Remind yourself you are a master, you are authority. You know, don't let you, the soul is the master, soul is doing, like Baba gave the example of eyes. Don't allow the eyes to see whatever, don't allow the eyes to sort of bully you to, you know, but it's the soul who is the master. Otherwise, you know, Baba uses the word civilized, means pure eyes, the eyes that look only at pure things. And Baba few times said only the obedient souls. And then only we say we follow the footsteps of Brahma Baba. But Baba says it should be in a practical life. So I thought, you know, that because we've read a lot of Murlis, you know, we have discussed, you know, but it's the practice and it's the drill in between. That's what I took from this. Thank you.
Thank you. So thank you all for your contributions and thoughts. And I think we've got a lot to think about, and it's a really interesting topic on karma. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Baba says more about it in the next week. And let's reflect on these things and rejoin next week and share your experiences on developing this karmatit stage while settling karma. So Om Shanti, everyone.
Om
Have a
Shanti.
great week.
Om
Om
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Shanti.
Om Shanti.
Thank you.
Welcome. Om Shanti.